after my family moved to Winnipeg, it was my summer job. I worked out of the counseling office in Winnipeg. So
neat. And just an interesting P.S. Your sister found her husband at Circle Square Ranch.
That's right. That's right. Almost 20, probably about 20 years ago, they were both working there, and they fell in love, and that was in Manitoba.
Now we have to fast track because there are a lot of tears bottled up in heaven because God says He saves them all. On the path to what was a dream. I don't know if you articulated this. I don't know how many people knew that this was in your heart to actually make your own solo recording. You know, I think some people were aware of that, but really it was something I did kind of keep in my heart. I was kind of a little bit intimidated by the dream. I was a little bit reluctant to let that out because I thought it was so vulnerable. Whenever you share your dreams and you say, this is, you know, what I believe God is calling me to do, and this is where my passion is, you know, there's risk of failure. There's risk of it not being well received. And so what were some of the nasty things the enemy whispered in your heart as you
tried
to hold on to
well,
this
I would
dream?
compare myself and think of all that I was, and I would think of other singers, and I think, well, I don't sing like that, and I can't sing like that, and I'm not like that. And I would just have this, you know, long list of hindrances and obstacles to fulfilling the dream.
But you held on. That is a faith response, to hold fast to the vision. Though the vision tarry, it says in Habakkuk, wait for it. It will surely come and will not delay. You know, I think people read that and think, what do you mean not delay? I've been waiting forever. In your case, 20 years. But I believe the message there is when the time is right, stand by, because it's going to happen like dominoes.
Exactly. I just felt like when I was, you know, in my early 20s, probably around 22, there was a word given over me from a minister, and it was just all about God using me and my voice and my music to reach people and to bring revelation about Jesus to people. And one of the phrases in the word was that the Lord has set before me an open door that no one can shut.
Revelation 3 verse 8, because some of you will ask, it's right there.
And, you know, that day I just really determined in my heart that as many doors as the Lord would open, that I would walk through them. And, you know, over the past 20 years, some doors have been open to, you know, sing for a group of 7 people in a small room, and then some have been, you know, to much larger audiences, and, you know, they've taken on a variety of forms. But I just determined that I'd be faithful.
You had to push past a lot of fears. And you had a huge financial mountain. What did God do about that? These cost a lot to produce, especially one that's nice.
Well, that was certainly one of my biggest obstacles, was how am I going to get the money to produce a CD like this, and who am I going to work with, and where am I going to get it done, and what kind of songs am I going to put on it? Because till that point, I had some songs spinning around in my head, but I really hadn't written anything concrete yet. And so I just had all these kind of dilemmas. And about a year ago, through Facebook, an old friend of mine who's probably been on the show, Kevin Pauls, we grew up in the same, you know, area, attending youth together, and he had let me know about a gospel music competition that was going to be happening in the Toronto area. And, you know, at first I didn't think I would want to do that, but then I thought, well, you know, maybe this is my opportunity to step out in faith in this direction, and one of the prizes was to get to record a CD. And so I thought, well, maybe this is how God's going to, you know, release this obstacle. So I came up to the competition and was here for a week, and you know, the competition didn't go quite as I thought it might. I ended up leaving the competition after the second round, and I remember driving from Toronto back to Columbus and crying for the better part of that trip, thinking, okay, Lord, is this the nail in the coffin? Is this you saying, you know, would you just finally give this thing up and move on to something else? And it was in that trip home that the Lord just really reminded me that, no, this wasn't the end for me, that He was giving me just really planting a seed of faith in my heart to move forward to the next level. And so after I got the tears out, I just started driving, and God just was continuing to just give me vision of what my next steps were. And within 24 hours of getting back to Columbus, I made a divine connection with somebody who was able to put me in touch with a Christian producer right in my hometown. Mm-hmm. And I made connection with him, and it was just a really great, God appointment. And not only that, but on that same day that I made the connection with him, I had a neighbor, an elderly lady, widow, come to my house.
This is wild.
And while I was in the conversation with my husband, talking about the cost of this project, she came into our conversation, and she was distraught about kind of the financial crisis of the banking industry at the time. And she basically just said, I need to get rid of some money.
How much money did she need to get rid of?
Well, she had tens of thousands of dollars that she was concerned.
She just had to get rid of. I love it.
She was concerned that the bank would fold and she would just lose it anyway. So she thought she might as well give it away. And it was kind of one of those moments where I'm sitting there thinking, okay, Lord, what are you doing right this moment? And she ended up fronting us the money for the deposit on the CD. We've since paid her back, but that was really the hurdle that we needed, was the cash to put the deposit down on the CD. And more than anything, it was just God's affirmation to me that this was his time and this was his project and this is what he was calling me to do.
He has made everything beautiful in its time.
Right.
You have to wait for it. And we can't talk about dreams fulfilled without meeting your family.
Oh.
Matt, the man you connected with via the internet, another one of those stories, and look at these dudes. Matt, introduce your boys to us.
Hi there, this is Colson over here. He's our 3-year-old, and this is Tyler, our 6-year-old.
How wonderful. What a portrait.
Yeah, this was another area where I had waited for God's provision. And like you said, I met Matt on the internet. I was living in Vancouver, and he was living in Columbus, Ohio at the time. And I was 31 years old when we met. And he imported me. And
so you're the one that took her away from us,
I am.
Matt?
I'm very sorry. Not really.
But for good cause.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and actually on my CD I have a song that I wrote about our story called You, Me, and Jesus in a Ryder Truck, because I had all my earthly possessions in the back of this Ryder truck, and we drove across the country to start a new life together in Ohio. So,
and I know you've got a couple of concerts coming up, free concerts. I don't know, the whole family going?
Yes.
All right. Saturday, October 10th at Westport Free Methodist Church, 7:30 in the evening. And Wednesday, October 21st, Bow Valley Christian Church. And that's in Calgary, Alberta.
That's right.
You are on the move. What a great story. What a beautiful family.
Thank you.